Everybody. Um, this is going to be a tough one for the simple reason that the person I'm going to talk to today is one of the most accomplished people that I've ever met in my life. Now, for many of you, numbers, you're all numbers people. What do the numbers 4, 3, and 2 mean to you? Anyone? Anyone? 4, 3, 2? Nothing? Okay. Ari, what does 432 mean to you?
First of all, I have to say I love that he's wearing a German brand next to me to make me more home, even in Vietnam. So yeah, 4 is the number of titles I won in Europe, so 4 times European champion. 3 is the number of Olympic Games I played, and I won 3 Olympic bronze medals. And 2 is the number of World Cups I won. I played in 4 and managed to win 2 World Cup titles. Thank you.
Thank you for clarifying that. I was very confused about that. So I think the idea today is to, with somebody, so, you know, I'm a bureaucrat, so I'm an international civil servant. I don't know anything. So when talking to someone like Ari, I was trying to think about how I would structure the conversation. And the way I would like to do it is to start from the start. When at the age of 15, for some reason, you decided to start playing club football. And then your journey through club to the national team, from the national team to your post-football career. And from there, I want to spend a lot more time on your newest venture, FC Viktoria Berlin, yeah, as a co-founder. So you've made a tremendous journey. So why don't you start us where you want to start us? And tell us, let's start by who is Ari?
Who is Ari? We don't have enough time. Actually, I love shark diving. So whoever was here yesterday listening to the panel talk, there was one lady also liking shark diving. I'm a girl who always loved playing football. I have no idea why. Just my mom kept telling me whenever I was a young kid, I would run around and kicking the soccer ball. And fortunately enough, I grew up in Berlin, in Germany, a big city, so I had the opportunities to play football. In many countries, or even cities in Germany, girls didn't have the opportunity. But I was fortunate enough to play what I love the most. And actually, I was in school, it was German, and you learn writing essays. And it was the very first essay, and the question was, what do you want to become as a profession when you get older? And then we had like, I want to be a dentist, I want a police officer, fireman. But little Ari, she said, I'm going to be a football player. By that time, I didn't even know there was a national team for women that played football. But I knew that was all I ever wanted. And I fulfilled my career. I'm also a banker. Don't ask me anything about banks. I have no idea about it anymore. And I'm also a physiotherapist because if you're a football player in Germany like 20, 30 years ago, you don't earn enough money. So I have these 2 professions as well. So it taught me if I want to fulfill my career as a football player, I have to be really stubborn and I need a lot of energy because I have one job and then football is the other job. And then we mentioned my success, but the football journey I had was so much more than the success. There were so many things I learned in life. All the values that football or a team sport in general taught me that I take over for now. You mentioned it, we're talking about my second career path as well. So there are so many things. When I could give just one little advice for a young person that is out there, what shall I do with my life? Fulfill your passion, but do any kind of sports. Because sport is going to teach you so much for your life that you're always going to have, and it's an important thing. And it's hard to put my life into just a few sentences. And one other thing that I really loved about my playing career is I was able to travel the world. I grew up in a family, we had some good money, but we were never really out there traveling. We had our holidays, but from Germany to Spain, that was the furthest distance I traveled. And then suddenly I became a player of the German women's national team back in 1996. And we were playing in Europe, of course, but I got to go to America, the United States, never been there before. I went to China, I think 5 or 6 times in my life I went to China, never been there before. I went to Australia, that's the furthest I've ever traveled for the Olympics 2000. So I basically saw the world as a football player, and that widened my horizon. Before that, I was like really limited in my view and vision. And suddenly it opens up a whole new world. So I decided whenever I finish my career, because when you travel as football, you see the airport, you see the hotel, and you see the pitch. But you get a little sense of culture that is in there. So whenever I finish my career, I need to start traveling the world because there are so many things I could discover. And the only reason why I'm here in Vietnam now is because I'm a former professional football player. I have all the stories to tell. I was on a podcast. I founded Viktoria. Someone introduced me to Lars, and Lars says, "Oh my God, you have to come to Vietnam. We have a summit here." So here I'm sitting. Without football, I would still be sitting in Berlin. I would probably have a really beautiful life, but I would never be able to be here on stage and tell you some of my stories.
Wow, thank you very much. I think that's a great introduction. And I think it's really the tip of the iceberg. And like you said, we don't have enough time to unpack you completely, but we're going to try and see what we can do. Now, one of the things that I want to focus on, and you sort of touched on that earlier, was being a woman in sports in a developed economy, an OECD economy like Germany. You still faced a lot of, I wouldn't say discrimination, but discriminatory practices when it comes to pay and so on. How has that shaped your values, and how have you brought that to what you're doing now?
Yeah, so when you're a young kid, you don't think about any discrimination, any gender discrimination. It just doesn't exist. And as you grow older, you suddenly realize, oh my God, there's a difference. And I want to be a football player, but unfortunately, or thanks God, I'm female, I don't really earn a lot of money. So it's kind of an unfair situation. But on the other hand, right in this moment, there was nothing I could do about it. The only thing I could do is still follow my profession and do the very best I could. And thankfully, things are slowly changing now. And I think it's a great opportunity. And it's so interesting. We had a really small platform, but nowadays we have the social media, so the players have a wider platform and they can use it. And this is also something that I am trying to do. And when we come to talk to Viktoria Berlin a little bit later, me as a co-founder, we said, we want to change the perspectives. We want to show we can have investments in women football because it's a growing market. And we can have, we don't want equal pay to the men's world. Don't get me wrong, because we don't think it's normal for a football player to earn millions and trillions and billions of dollars. That makes no sense. But we want a fair pay that as a female player, you could just follow your profession, go out there, have the best infrastructure and everything. And I think there's a platform that we have that we can encourage each other. But I always looked at the positive sides. What impact can I have? And back then, as a player, my biggest impact was playing football. And I didn't even realize it because that was my fun, that was my joy. I wanted to play football, and I realized, oh, I can entertain people with that as well. And there's so many great stories to tell. So it's a long way for us to go, but we can do whatever we can. And just the visibility is so important for us.
Thank you. So we talk about one of the things that when I was doing the research on you, while doing my day job, was to understand the kind of topic, the champion's mindset. And I've seen that with very high-performing athletes and people who do really well in life, be it in business or in the fintech world, in finance, is that they're very driven by a goal. What was your goal as you were going through this journey?
Yeah, as I already said in the very beginning, my first goal was I just love football. There was nothing else I wanted to do. School was over, tossed my bag into the corner, didn't care about homework, I just wanted to play. And then later on, I realized there's actually a chance I can play. And as I mentioned, 1996, that was when I had my first invitation for the German national team. And I was like, wow, I am represented. I'm one of, back then we had a squad for a tournament of 18 players. I'm one of 18 players who's allowed to put on this German jersey and represent my country. And I played the Euros, It was my first Euros, and we ended up winning. And I was like, excuse my language, fuck me, this is amazing, this feeling, I want more of that, right? It's nothing beats when you win and you can lift the trophy. And I'm a really emotional girl, so a lot of pictures of me are actually me crying of joy. And I was like, that's the taste of success that is so sweet. And it's one thing to win it once, but I wanted more. I wanted to repeat it, and I was able to do so in the Europeans. You get hungry for more. My very first World Cup was 1999. That was played in America, and we ended up going out in the quarterfinals. That was against the United States, who back then they were the #1 champions of the world. And we played against them in a sold-out stadium. I've never played in front of 60,000 people before. I literally peed my pants when I walked out the pitch, and I was like, oh my God, they're all screaming against us. And the interesting thing was, the mindset of me was, before we got into the game, oh my God, we're playing against America, we're playing in America, we don't have a chance. Which we ended up losing. And then I tried to make this story as short as possible. 4 years later, 2003, we're playing in America. We're playing the World Cup. And I'm much older. And I never forget the feeling, the moment we lost against America and I had to pack my bag and fly back home to Germany. I hated it. I hated losing. But what I hated the most was I didn't have the feeling that I put everything I had out there on the pitch. There was something missing, and that was my little mindset, because I didn't believe we could win. And that's the worst part of losing. If you give your best, you can always lose. But if you didn't give your best, then something is missing. So 4 years later, I had the chance. So we're playing 2003, the World Cup, and we're playing against America. And we're playing in the semi-final in Portland. And I got into that game and I said, yes, come on. Today we're going to kick ass. We're going to beat you. We're going to send you away. We're going to send you home in America. And we're going to beat you, and we're going to end up winning this World Cup. There was a shift in mindset, and that was so important. And we ended up winning this tournament in a really great fashion way. Back then, there was still golden goal, and I don't have enough time to tell you all these stories. But this hunger of success, this was driving me. And also, when you're a team player, for me, it was a second World Cup. We had a lot of players who played in their first World Cup. And 4 years later, 2007 in China, we had a few players who already played 3 World Cups. We had a lot who played them the very first time. They had never won a World Cup before. So I thought myself, yeah, I want to win a second title, but I want to help my teammate win their first title as well. And I think this is just the mindset, never giving up. And the way to get there is a really hard way. And it needs a lot of resilience, a lot of determination. There are a lot of days where you think, why the heck am I doing this? I mean, training in 30, 35 degrees outside where everybody else is sitting in their swimming pool. Yeah, you go out on the pitch because you have something to achieve. Or training in minus 10 degrees, like most Vietnamese would not know what it is like. But if you're in Europe and you're playing at minus 10 degrees, everything just hurts. But these are the moments that you go out there because you have this one day in your life when you play in the final and you can win. Now I've talked too much. The microphone. I can speak loud. Yeah. So, and to your question, why are we so successful? Because we wanted more, and there's this hunger inside us and the determination, and we are not going to give up until we reach our goal. And for me as well, the older I got, there were still things I could improve. Of course, it's smaller margins, but I still always wanted to improve, and this is what was driving me. And you have your teammates around you that can drive you, and you can celebrate something together and achieve something together.
Wow, that's incredible. And then the other issue is, that's okay. The other issue that I found interesting in what you said was how failure kind of propelled you forward. So that loss to the US kind of propelled you forward. How has that fashioned your career after that, in football and post-football?
We have a word in German language. We have a lot of words for everything, and we call it Fehlerkultur, here the culture of mistakes. And I think this is something very important for every athlete out there. We all understand that we will make mistakes, and that is totally fine. We don't like them, but these are the moments that we learn the most out of it. And you can look back at it and analyze. It's so much easier to analyze a match where you've made mistakes to know what you have to work on. It's so much harder when everything goes well and you still want to improve. So as an athlete, we are hungry for feedback. We want to have feedback from the coaches, from my team members, but also I'm asking myself. After each game, I would stand under the shower or on my way home and rethink the match. Okay, what was good, what was not so good, what could have been better. And most of the time, you're more harsh to yourself. But I always wanted to analyze what can you do better. So making mistakes is the easiest step forward to become a better player, a better profession. And I think this is also for the business world. Those who have the most success, they've failed before. A lot of founders, they are not successful with the very first company they found. Very often it's the second or the third. If you're lucky, it's going to be your first, but you're going to make mistakes, and it's important to make them because that's when you learn the most. And the biggest mistake you can do is not to try. You always need to try and be courage, because this is something where you can learn from. Be out there, try something new, think outside the box. Even if you doubt yourself, that's totally fine. Because we already heard before, what's the worst thing that happens? You're not going to die, you're not going to kill someone, we're all going to live the other day. You might not have the success that you wanted to have, but that's an easy one to take if you can grow out of that. So, and the failure of losing this match, and as I mentioned, not because I'm okay to admit if a team is better than me. I'm the first to say congratulations, but I'm not good if I didn't give my best. And I know I wasn't at 100%. And that's the only thing where I go like, I hate that so much. And that's the biggest mistake we made, and we learned a lot of it and adapted a lot of things for the next World Cup 4 years later to make that change.
Thank you. Before I move to FC Victoria Berlin, I want people to understand a few things. So she's talking about years, 97, 96. I want you to understand how old she was at that time. How old were you when you won your first Euro, please?
I was 17 years old. Yeah.
I mean, just try and think what you were doing at 17. I know what I was doing, and it was not this. So that's fantastic. Now let's move on a little bit from football to FC Victoria Berlin. First of all, why?
Yeah, I also try to make this story rather short because it's a long one to tell. So Angel City was a club that was founded in the United States. And as soon as the message came out that they're going to have another professional team in Los Angeles to compete in the NWSL, they made a tweet. And it took them 2 more years to actually compete. Yeah, but they already built up 2 years to be in this league. And this story was spread all over the world. And of course, it also reached Berlin. So 2 of my co-founders, we are in total 6 women, 2 of my co-founders saw that tweet and they go like, we need the same in Berlin. How can we arrange that? How can we make that happen? So they gathered more people around and they approached me at an early stage saying, Ari, we want to have something we want to propose to you. And they started with, have you heard of Angel City? And I interrupted them and I said, you're going to be doing the same? I'm in. I come from Berlin. I'm the only one in this group who's born in Berlin. I had a really long football career, but I was never able to play professional football in my home city, which is the capital of Germany, which is in total embarrassment. Berlin says we are the sports capital of Germany, and they didn't even have a women football team. So I said, I want to do everything in my power to create a team in Berlin that plays high professional football. And so 6 of us came together, and the only one thing we had in common was we love football, we loved the game, and we wanted to do something for female empowerment. They were entrepreneurs, they came from big companies, marketing, media, and during this process we learned each other rather well, and it's a fantastic story to tell. So what we wanted to achieve is we take a club, back then we were playing in the 3rd division, we founded FC Viktoria Berlin, we took out the women's team of a whole club structure, and we're 6 female bosses now running this, with the goal to promote. Now we're in 2nd league, the big goal is the 1st league, and then we want to play Champions League and whatever other competition is there as well. But off the pitch, we also want to be game changers. What does that mean? We need visibility. A woman, a girl growing up in Berlin needs to see there's a profession I can be. I can be a professional football player, but guess what? I can also be a media operator. I can become a referee. I can be a marketing expert. There's so many jobs in this world, but the girls, they don't even know yet that there's the chance for them to be there. So we want to be role models for them. We want visibilities, and we want to prove that you don't need to have a lot of funding from the men's football to run a football club. You can do it with your own investments, sponsors, partnerships. We want to tell story. And the last story I want to say to that as well is finding our main sponsors on the jersey, for example. This season we have a sponsor in Scalable Capital, an online banking platform. They'd never done sports sponsoring before. They never even thought about sponsoring a soccer team because they said, that's not our audience, that's not who we are. But they were interested in talking to us because for them, we weren't just only a soccer team, but we're FC Viktoria Berlin, standing for the bigger scale. Scalable Capital, they're interested in getting more women to finance, to invest. The percentage of women investing is so low. Said, okay, how do we reach them? And they realized, wait, you also want visibility for women. Let's collaborate. And this collaboration is great. So we're going out there, we teach our players about investment. They don't earn a lot of money, but a little bit. And there's chances for them to invest and have this visibility. So these collaboration that are offside the pitch, they are also really important for us. And we have the combination. And at the end of the day, I mean, I'm competitive. I want to be in the 1st league, so I want sportive success as well. But it's also important to tell the stories off the pitch.
Fantastic. I mean, so it's very interesting to see a sports startup and to have the kind of ambition that you have. What are some of the things from your experience, and you talked a little bit about that earlier, about equal pay, about contracts and so on, that you've adapted and adopted in FC Viktoria Berlin that is not usual in women's football?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that we have is that we are such a diverse team. I said the only thing we had in common was the passion for the game. But we are so very different, and we come from different perspectives. And I'm going to answer your question shortly. I just want to give you a short story. So we're playing in the 3rd division, which is okay and good football to watch. If you ever watch the game live and you watch it on TV, there's a big difference. On TV, it always looks so much slower. And especially if you think of men's football and suddenly women are playing, oh, guess what? We are less athletic, we are not as fast, but it's still an exciting game to watch. So we're playing in the 3rd league in the 1st season, and someone came up with the idea, let's make it live TV stream. We're going to stream a match live. And me, coming from the football world, I go like, no, we can't do that. If the people come to the stadium and watch us play live, they're going to like it. But if they see it on TV, it's not going to look good. Thank God they didn't listen to me, the football player, with my perspectives. They were saying, okay, let's make it different. What can we give the audience, and even a new audience who might not ever have watched a football game before, what is interesting for them? We have a great group of investors. We have politicians. We have sports stars, Franziska von Almsick, former great swim star. We had so many great personalities. So they made a whole entertainment program. We had co-commentators during the match, and they were talking about, why are you invested in Viktoria Berlin? What's the story behind it? What does interest you? So this stream, I can't tell you the numbers, sorry, I know you love numbers, I can't give them to you. The only thing I knew is that the TV station was surprised by the numbers we got. They did never expect that. And that's the moment I go like, thank God you didn't listen to the footballer Ariane, because we would have never done that, but we did something different. And this describes the whole approach we have. We are thinking outside the box. We do things different. Of course, we made a lot of mistakes already. We failed in many times, but we learned from them and we moved on. And very important for us was, when I was growing up as a football player, my first payment was literally in an envelope. I would get the cash money in the envelope giving to me, which is great. It gives me money. But guess what? That means I don't have any health insurance. So whenever I get injured on the pitch, well, bad luck for you. You have your normal governmental insurance, but this is never going to help you if you have a true injury. So the first things we said with Viktoria Berlin is, all our players must earn that much money that they're covered by the health insurance company for professional football players. And that was non-negotiable. That meant a massive increase in our budget, because even though you have minimum wages, it's a lot of money, but that was non-negotiable. And that's something we still stand for, to give the players the basics. And these were things I learned from my playing career. I didn't want to be in this situation, or didn't want our players to be in this situation, so we adapted that. And also, slowly increasing them from amateur football to professional football means you actually have a physiotherapist. They never had a full-time physiotherapist for them all the time. And to teach them a mindset and mentality, it's so hard to go from an amateur level to professional level. It takes time. Like all of us know, like we are not a businessman from one second to the other. It's a learning process. But this is something where you can guide the players. We also have a mentorship program with our investors and our players. And it's a win-win for both sides. The players learn a lot from the outside world, and also learn how you can relax from really experienced entrepreneurs, company runners, everything. And they learn so much from the football players about determination, resilience, courage, doing the things. So these are small steps that we took from experience that we had in a younger age and adapted to a football world. Because they're not, nowadays we have a lot of mental programs. But when we started, there wasn't a mentorship program. And so it's small bits and pieces that all add up to one big picture.
Fantastic. How does the journey ahead look? So when we talk about scaling your business, we talk about, you are at a certain stage. You're a startup. How do you become a BAU business? How do you make it a sustainable business? How do you get to that stage? And without getting into too much detail, but what is your roadmap for making this something that outlives you and outlasts you and grows as a business itself, and maybe offshoots as well?
Yeah. I can't go into detail because even though I had an education as a bank clerk, I'm not good enough with the numbers to explain to you. We knew from the very beginning it's a big investment. When we talk women football, if you play in the national team, you can gain some money, or if you're in the biggest league, which in Germany is the Bundesliga. If you play in the third division or second division, it's a big business. So we spend a lot of money and we don't have any income because you don't have any TV rights. The sponsorship deals are good, but they're not good enough. The partnerships, everything there is. So we knew from the very beginning we need probably 4 or 5 years to build up at least an investment where we get new investors in and to keep growing, to grow a platform. For us to survive, we must be in the first league. That's non-negotiable. We set a time frame of 5 years to reach that. And we're still in a good position. Right now we play second league. If we promote next year, we're on a really good path. And that's the moment when we have the chance to gain some money. Before that, it's a long investment. We started with really small investors with ticket prices of 10,000, maximum 20,000 euros. And we gained altogether we have now almost 280 investors who came together and built that. We had some sponsorship deals, which are really great compared to other second division teams, but are nowhere close to where we should be in first league. And now we made a big, massive step. We have a US investor coming in now as well. They bring the money, but they also bring the knowledge. They bring the knowledge from America. They're investors, they are the founders. We bring a full circle of Angel City FC. So they founded Angel City FC. They're trying to expand their portfolio, and they came up to Viktoria, Berlin, and said, let's make a collaboration. So the plan is now to build a fundamental structure. How can we generate income that is not always just sponsorships and investments? What can you actually sell? And there's so many things we can sell. Of course, the obvious is we sell out the stadiums with 10, 20,000 spectators. We have the merchandise products who bring the money in. But there are also so many stories to tell, to have small little partnerships that can be told and generate a new income and have a big community building, have the small sponsors, have the big sponsors. And then as women's football is rising, TV rights are rising, and it's getting better. And to make sure it's sustainable is, and I mentioned it before, we're not talking about salaries for players, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever millions. If you don't have the income, we can't spend it. So we want to spend it wisely. I mean, I don't want to be the next Barcelona or Manchester City, which is ridiculous, with minus 300, 400 millions of dollars, and they're still allowed to sign new players, even though they don't even have the money to spend. And we do the different approach. We want fair salaries, and they should earn a lot of money, but if we don't generate the income, we can't have that for them, but we have something else to offer. So it's a really long way, and yes, it's an investment, and it's going to probably take maybe 5 more years to have a positive outcome, but it's a marathon, not a sprint. You need to be patient when doing this, and we all believe in this true case, and we're gonna be successful no matter what, but it's just gonna take a little bit more years.
So before I go on to questions, just one last kind of thing I want to touch upon is we have a lot of technologists and tech entrepreneurs here. How are you deploying technology at FC Viktoria Berlin? In what forms, and what is the future of technology and the marriage of technology and sports?
Yeah, there we have to look at 2 levels. One is the sporting levels, that has a lot of opportunities, and the other part is the operation level. And I don't know, that's the easiest part of using ChatGPT, generating emails. How can our operating team optimize their work structure, automatism, like... You know, we love rules and restrictions in Germany. When you want to run a game, there's so many demands you have, and we're trying to make them as automatically as possible. And what I can talk much more about is the sporting part of it, and we see it more and more in the sports world. The first thing, for example, is Kinexon. Kinexon is a GPS tracker device. That tracks the kilometers you're running, your accelerations, the decelerations, and it is used during the game to have an idea what is the impact on a player, but also during training session. The coaching team sets a certain goal for their training week. They know exactly how high I want to have my players to have a Belastung. The intensity of a training session, for example. And then we have our sports analyst who goes with the data and says, yeah, we finished this or not. This player, he's a little bit above, he needs some more rest, or she needs some more rest time. They can do a little bit more. This is one part we have. And then analyzing. When I was a coach, I would sit there and decode and rewatch the whole game, and I would manually have to tag the players and do the cutting. Nowadays, it's all automated. So I already get the clips, and I can totally focus on what I see, the tactical aspects. So that saves me so much more time to actually spend the time with the player to talk about her, what you can do better or not. So that's a huge impact we have. And there's more and more things that are there to support a quick analyzing of the game without wasting your time. And I think that's what AI is mostly there. Optimize your time. And I want to spend more time talking to my player and have a common understanding about the game, how I want you to play, instead of me spending an hour in front of a computer to then have 5 minutes to talk to you about it. So this is where the things are going, and I'm pretty sure there are so many more tools that are going to be developed that I don't even know about. And to give you the small basic, the chips that are in the ball, is it a goal or is it not? And the most important topics for a football player, is it offside or not? I think, yeah, that's probably one of the things where we talk about AI that is really useful to use, and the bigger picture, not only the Victoria Berlin picture.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the audience? Anyone want to ask? Yes.
Hello. Do you think the 50+1 rule is hurting smaller clubs to find new investors?
Yeah, the 50+1 rule is so great. For those of you who don't know, I try to limit it in a short way. What does it mean? In Germany, you can't, as an investor, you can't just come in and buy a club and say, this is the things I want to do. The club is always run by the members. The member elect their president, and then they speak on behalf of the members and tell what the club is going to be doing in the future, what investments are we going to have. So in Germany, it's always the members have a say as well. And even though we have a great history in German football, and I think it's good to have it, I think for us it's important to think outside the box. And now I'm only talking about women's football. I think in women's football we have a big chance to do something different. I'm not saying let's erase the 50+1 rule, but I think there are ways to expand it. Because as a big investor, it's hard for me to get in if I don't have the full say. But I've already mentioned we have Monarch Collective coming into our club now. They know about the 50+1 rule, but they still agree to come in because we have our values, we want to know where we want to go, we have our goals set, and they align with the goals that Monarch have. So that's why they say, okay, we have a common base and we can work together. But especially in the women's game, I think you need to find a way to get investors in. Because, as I mentioned before, it can't be the solution. The men's game, they earn the money and they put it in the women's team. That's no solution. We can't be dependable on the men's team. So I think you have to loosen it up. And I'm only talking about women's football because men's football, that's too much of a topic for me. That's a really hard one. I don't want to burn myself. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
You got paid to ask something.
No, actually, I'm really interested. Ariane, thank you. You already spoke about the challenges as an entrepreneur equal to losing. So I had to do 3 startups to become successful. The first 2 didn't go very well. And when I speak on stage, I often use this Rocky Balboa quote where he talks about it doesn't matter how many times you win, it matters how many times you go down and you get up again. So you spoke about when you were down, and my question to you would be, do you have any secret tip or anything how to motivate you when you go down? Is there anything where you can say like, this is what I'm doing to fucking hell, I'm going to get up again?
Yeah, the one thing that's not a good advice, that's just my personality. I'm not the person laying on the ground. That's not me. I'm the person standing up there on top of the ladder. So I have to do everything in my power to make sure I'm up there again. The biggest advice, though, I can give, because everybody has the hard time of motivating. That's just normal, and you can't always be on your highs, and the lows belong there as well. You're not alone, and you can never ever do it alone. So as a football player, of course, you have your teammates around you. You have your players, you have a coach, you have a physiotherapist, everything around you can talk to. As an entrepreneur, you have a co-founder, you have team members, or you have someone outside the bubble. You have your family, your friends, whatever it is. You will never ever be successful without a support system. So find the people around you who give you this energy. Same for me. I gain a lot of energy if I can help someone. As a coach, if I can make a player better, that gives me a kick. I love that. And this is something, it's a give and take. There are the moments when you're on the floor, you're the one who has to receive the energy. And I would love to say it was always just me to have success, but unfortunately it wasn't. I have a really big self-motivation that's crucial, but I always had a great support system. And me, myself, always gave a lot of support. So that's the best advice I can give.
Can I ask one more question? Completely unrelated, but I'm really interested and I think it's highly relevant. So here in Vietnam, the country, I would say the hidden power are the women. But to the outside, the men are more like in the front, but actually the women decide everything. However, over the last 12 years, I learned that most women here deal with, they have difficulties to believe in themselves, I would say. The men are full of themselves, although some of them should rather not. And the women who can do it, rather like, hey, I don't think I'm ready for it. I'm ready. Is there any message you could give these women?
Absolutely, that's just the nature of it. It's unbelievable. I have no idea why we are like this. And trust me, I'm the same. I always doubted myself first. But I learned to trust my abilities so much more. These women who ask themselves, am I good enough? Is it okay that I'm in this position? Guess what? Especially if you're a woman, you're not in this position by chance. Because there's no way some man came and put you in this position just to make you a gift. If you're women, you already fought so much more than a man would ever have to be in this position. So that means you are already fucking amazing and good in the job that you're doing. So believe in that. There's a reason why you're there. And then once again, this is where I think feedback is so important. And of course, sometimes you always want the positive or the negative. Find the trust person where you always get the true feedback. They're not just going to say positive things to you to make you feel good, but also not going to bring you down. And if this person tells you, wow, this was really good, you better believe her or him. And so that's really important to do. And I think it's also something you can teach yourself to believe yourself even more, to doubt less, to say, why am I sitting here on stage? It's not by chance, because I achieved something, but I worked so hard for it. And this is what women have to repeat, unfortunately, so much more often. But yeah, that's the answer. You're never there by chance. You always have to find more, and get your surround system. Get the support to actually tell you what is good, but also tell you what is bad, in the sense of, what can you do better the next time? That is the important part. It's not about this was bad, but find the solution to work on it. And this builds self-confidence. And also, if you never step out of your comfort zone, you're never going to rise. If you always stay in your comfort zone, you're never going to achieve everything. And that's the moment, you should definitely doubt yourself, because this is not good enough. Get out of your comfort zone. We all have to do it. You're going to fail, that's for sure. You're going to have really bad moments. You're going to feel really shitty. But guess what? The moments you succeed, that's the best feeling you can have in the world. So to all the women sitting here, spread the word, believe in yourself, and power yourself and your surroundings up. And we need the men on our side as well. It's an ally. We can't do it by ourselves. We all have to do it together.
Hi, this is Tuấn. Nice to see you.
Hello.
And I just accidentally raised a thumbs up to say, oh, I like that. But anyway, so I like and I feel the energy. As I share with Loz, I really feel the energy. And Loz asked about the, first is we're asking for the woman. But I'm thinking of the child, our child as well, our kids as well. So what is the one thing that you can give to the little one that they will have, how they say, motivate themselves, because their self-motivation is really low, I would say. I have 2 sons. I try to motivate themselves every single time. But what would be the one thing that you can give to make sure that we can lift them up? We don't care about their female or male or boy or girls, but we just one thing that we can help those generation to be better in this really fast world.
Yeah. The best thing is now I'm giving an advice. I don't have any kids. So whatever I say, it's so easy for me to say because I don't have to deal with children every day. For me, one of the most important things is a child itself, it's curious. It wants to learn the world. And then us adults, we come there and we destroy. We destroy their imagination because we tell them reality. So I think what I would love to do with the young generation, let them dream as long as they can. Of course, we can't let them stay in an illusion, but we don't have to teach them from a really young age, this is the real life. By the way, what is real life? I don't have a definition, I don't know the right word. So let them dream. Then one really important thing for me is as well, and you see it a lot of CEOs, wherever they are, especially in the female world, those who are the most successful, they all have done sports, or they're still doing sports. And it doesn't have to be on a high professional level, but you need some kind of activity. And that's also one thing, talking about success and resilience. There's the mental part, and then there's the physical part. And these two, they can only, they need to be connected. There is no success if only one is successful. So for me, I would try to get these children out there as much as possible, play around, discover things, and be sportive active. And then celebrate the wins. Some kids out there, they're already really good in celebrating the small things, but especially the shy ones, the introverts, they don't see when they have done something really good. So celebrate that. But be careful. If you just do some random thing that is absolutely normal, I mean, you don't have to celebrate as if you just won the World Cup. Be realistic as well. So motivate them by saying what is good, but be real as well. I mean, if you, I don't know, just made a step outside the house, I don't have to celebrate you that you're sportive active. So this is something that I would give to you, these 2 parts.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks very much. And I think that would help us to manage some of our really junior people in our team as well, to make sure that they can grow together with us. So thank you again.
And one thing, when you're now talking about your junior people in your group, the biggest drive they have is if they know what they're doing it for. So they need the goal and they need to see it. And they need some incentive, whatever it is. I don't know, you set the goal out, we're going to have the biggest numbers in income of this year. I don't know, we're going to generate new income. We have a new company we're working with. Whatever it is, they need to know the goal and they need to see it. But every single person in your company, they must have their own goal as well. What is your motivation? Why do you come to work? And they need to find it. And if they don't have it, you can do everything you want. You're never going to be successful. You have the wrong employees. That's a fact. You must find these people who have some little self-motivation or know the answer why. And then show them and be a role model. It's especially for kids, but even for juniors. If they can't see it, how can they actually know what they can achieve?
Great.
Right? You dream big, but you know what the dream can be.
That's very helpful. Thank you.
For a sec. So I was, thank you for those really interesting questions and participating. When I was doing the research again on Ari, I think someone referred to you as a former star. But my view is a little different. Yeah, my view is that once you are a star, you're always a star. And having met you now, I know that you're going to shine forever. So thank you very much, and thank all of you for your time and joining us. Thank you very much.